Hey, Madam Chair, thank you. Great to be here. Somewhat ironic to hear the Secretary of Transportation to note that he's late because he was in traffic.
I didn't say
Is that
traffic.
right? That's all I heard. That's all I heard. No, Madam Chair, thank you, and thank you all for your continued attention and focus on this issue. I think it's absolutely critical. Look, this project is different because every other Corps of Engineer project, as the Colonel will tell you, it's normally us chasing money. It's us chasing the dollars to try to get the project built. And unfortunately, with Louisiana having 1/3 of the Corps of Engineer projects across the United States, we have over $30 billion in project authorizations in the state of Louisiana, whereas the Corps nationally probably has just over $100 billion. So we have 1/3 of the Corps projects. And I'll say it again, we're normally chasing money for these projects all across our state, trying to get them built. In this case, we actually got the money up front. And at that point, I think all of us, including our chair, we're popping champagne corks and said, all right, this is it. It's all downhill from here, only to find repeated impediments or obstacles. And we're at the point to where we thought the project was going to be completed by now, to now we're probably looking at 2025. And it's incredibly frustrating to be in a situation like this because, and Colonel, I clearly heard you talk about the attention of the chief, the general, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that you're always a phone call away. But I think that if any of us are looking at this and saying that this project development implementation process corresponds to the urgency of this project, then we're crazy. Let me say that again. If we think that this project development and implementation process reflects the urgency of this project, and unfortunately a number of other projects in the state of Louisiana, then we're crazy. We have a crisis in Louisiana. And whether it's people living in the coastal area with the erosion of our coast and the increased vulnerability to hurricanes, or the fact that we drain Montana, New York, and Canada coming down through here, we've got water and we've got attacks from the north, from the south, and that we've got to be more agile and have to have a process to implement these projects that reflects that urgency, that reflects the situation that people are facing. Now, look, Madam Chair, you're well aware, in the aftermath of the 2016 flood, all of the people that we represented, that Representative Mincy represented, that Senator Pope represented, these people, lives had been just devastated. That everything they owned was sitting out on the curb. And we're asking them, hey, come back to Central, come back to Denham, come back to Watson. And these people are sitting there with everything they own out on the curb. And at that point, we couldn't tell them, hey, it's going to be safer, it's going to be better, it's going to be stronger. And thankfully, within just a few months, we were able to come in and secure the dollars to where we could tell them, hey, we've got record funding going on. And so this is going to be safer. Reinvest your insurance check, reinvest your Restore Louisiana check back in your community because it's going to be safe investment. It's going to be a stronger protection system. It's going to be a great place for you to live and raise a family and have a business. But here we are 6 years later, and we're still talking about the project. And so, look, going out there and trying to get, at the time, $342 million, that's not easy. As the Colonel will tell you, nationally for the Corps' construction budget, they normally get somewhere between $2 and $3 billion. This project is over 10% of their entire national budget. And we were able to secure those funds, only to have come back and say, all right, now we need another $128 million, which thankfully we were able to get secured as well. So now we have over $500 million in this project that's in the bank and being invested in protection. So one last time, project delivery's got to reflect project urgency. Next thing is this, Madam Chair, and I know that this task force is focused on the Comite project, and it's certainly the foundation, the linchpin, the anchor for this basin. But right now, if I go through and add things up, we have about $1 billion being invested in the basin, about $1 billion. And so I just urge you all of you to keep thinking about, yes, we need to keep the heat on everybody who's implementing this project, but we also need to be looking at all of these other components. For example, the Baton Rouge Area Flood Control Project and the over $250 million being invested in it. Another Corps of Engineers project with the East Baton Rouge Parish. It's an important part of protection for this basin. As much as it pains me to say it, Mark Harrell here the work that they're doing. And I'm going to say it. You want to talk about urgency? We got them $50 million in December of 2016. December of 2016, Mark and their team have already done clearing and snagging on 450 miles, and you're now going to up the number and say 462 or whatever you're going to do, but 450 miles of rivers, bayous, canals, and ditches in Livingston Parish. So you want to talk about urgency, 450 miles. And this was done within months of the dollars being appropriated, and those miles are going to keep going up. So that's another important component. The Highway 22 project, which is going to create another outlet of the Emmett River into the Maurepas Basin, helping to evacuate the water faster, not just be dependent upon the diversion canal and Emmett River to get the water out, is another important component. The weir, the dredging at the mouth of the Blind and the dredging of the Emmett River, all of these things, and I could go on and on. All of these things are important components because, look, Madam Chair, you're well aware of this. If you live proximate to the north-south bayous draining into the diversion canal, you may see several feet of flood relief. But in other areas further south, you're not going to see. You may just be a few inches. And so these other projects are the projects that deliver feet of relief for you. And so, one last time, we have over $1 billion being invested in the basin. I think that we have to work collectively, and whether it's our federal partners, whether it's the state agency, it's our Emmett River Basin Commission, it's the parishes that are involved, it's obviously all of you stakeholders and legislators that are here. We have got to collectively work on a process that allows us to be resilient, to be safe and secure, and execute on these dollars, get these projects done. I can't express my frustration enough on what's going on with Energy Transfer. I mean, the fact that we discovered a pipeline from the 1950s and realized it was there, 40 years later or whatever. I mean, that's or heck, 70 years later. I mean, it's inexcusable. It is. And I hate where we are on that, but we've got to fix this. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but I want to thank you all very much for your efforts to focus attention and to make sure that everyone's playing well in the sandbox to get this thing done.
Well, thank you, Congressman Graves. I appreciate your comments, appreciate you being here, and your commitment to this project is unparalleled. And we hear the passion in your voice, because it doesn't matter if you've got teamwork. It's about project delivery. And all of these things there's got to be a quicker way to do it than to miss the target date. We thought we were going to finish by December of this year, and we're pushing it back a year and a half or 2 years. That is mind-boggling. I don't understand that, and hopefully we can get an explanation for that. But I really want to say thank you, because I know how hard you fought, how hard everybody's fighting for money, but you fought to get that for us here. And I want to say thank you on behalf of the constituents of East Baton Rouge and the East Baton Rouge metropolitan area, because your commitment is noted. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you.
Representative Mincy.
Yeah, I just want to echo some of the same comments. Congressman Graves, thank you again for being here and for your passion for this area. And, I think it's safe to say that we wouldn't even have these discussions about the delayed schedule if it wasn't for your efforts in D.C. to get us the funding. So I just want to thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you. And again, I can't emphasize enough. This takes everybody. Everybody can sit here and point fingers and say it's his fault, it's her fault. It takes all levels of government working together to get this thing done. And I really appreciate you all pulling everybody together and being the venue for that collaboration, or perhaps accountability, Madam Chair.
Well, thank you. And one of the things that we're going to talk about is the oversight on the, I see Councilman Moak and Fred Brayford here talk about the clearing and snagging, how to get that done. And hopefully with Mark Harrell here and the tremendous success that he's had in Livingston Parish, I'm hoping that we can see the same thing in EBR, because it is possible. It just shows you with dedication and commitment and organization. And I think leadership is the key thing, is to have the leadership.